return again. This captivity ain't permanent, no. I'm from Jerusalem, hey, we'll return again. This captivity ain't permanent, no. Sitting on
Salama family, what's going on? How y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing? I'm Brother Tour.
I'm Isha G. How are you guys tonight?
I hope everyone is well. Listen, guys, I've got a great one for you tonight. Yes. I've got a great brother out of Senegal, a diasporan who has gone to Senegal and is doing amazing things for the diaspora over there. You know, I'm gonna let him tell y'all about all the things he has going on over there. But as we told you guys, you know, we're gonna be bringing on people that are doing things and that can help you to understand what you can do in these other countries and how to repatriate to these different countries. I know we're in Tanzania, but there's 54 countries here, guys, that you can go to and be a positive person there. All right. So please help us welcome our brother from Senegal, Brother RJ Mahdi. Brother RJ, how you doing?
Peace. Thanks for having me. How y'all doing over there in TZ?
We are good. As you can see, the lights just went out here because the power just went out. So I'm going to switch to our logo for a minute, but it's all good. It's all good. Hey, this is life in Africa, y'all. Y'all got to be prepared for this. But RJ, why don't you go ahead and tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you got going on in Senegal?
You know, same thing you guys been talking about, man. Just a new life and new opportunities. You know, new adventures. A lot of new creativity and things. You know, budding out of the diaspora's return. We're here in Senegal, you know, making that footprint, leaving that mark, and making sure that we have something here to last us in the future.
That's great. That's great.
So one thing, I know you told me that your wife and yourself, you got there in 2012 and she was pregnant at the time, correct?
Well, we decided to move here in 2012. We didn't get here until 2014. But we decided to move here right after conceiving our first child, our son Amir. Yeah, I mean, that lit the fire under us. We knew that we had to do something extraordinary in order to have those kind of results out of our next generation. So, you know, that really put our backs against the wall to say, hey, look, what are you going to do differently to raise your children, you know, in a way that's, you know, not like what we've been seeing, obviously, in the West. And so, you know, having that prior knowledge of Senegal and already doing our own research, we knew it was a good move. And like I said, it took us a year or two to get everything together, to properly prepare, to get rid of our other belongings, etc. But, you know, we made it happen. 2014, May, we touched down here. And we've been rooted here ever since.
Okay, did you guys have anybody that was assisting you at the time, or did you guys just decide we're just gonna go with it? You know, because for us, we had consultations and different things like that before we decided to relocate, but you guys came a lot sooner than most of the people that we know that have come to Africa.
Yeah, so, you know, at the time there wasn't, you know, that kind of information available just in terms of like online or YouTube or organizations that were really helping people to do this. But you know, it was a blessing. We actually had, you know, like family here on the ground. You know, myself, I was here 20 years ago. And so that gave us our connections here. And very, you know, informal and definitely not in the scope of what we see going on today in the repatriation world. But at least we had those hands to reach out to, and that helped us to, you know, transition a lot. And so we saw how impactful that was for us. So we knew how important it was for us to provide that same type of hospitality, that same type of welcome and assistance to others. But yeah, in 2014 when we came, we searched online, top to bottom, YouTube, Google, anything you could think of, and there was nothing, available for people like us who wanted to make that kind of move. I mean, it was very, very slim in terms of the information available. The people who were on the ground at that time, most of whom at that time were elders, retirees, folks who weren't really active in, being a bridge, but more so they were just kind of planted and, and calm and quiet, right? And so here we come, young, energetic, having this, millennial mindset that, we have to be a part of the change. We have to be the ones who do it a little different so that we can help others to have the same opportunities. And we've been doing that ever since.
That's awesome because, I mean, that's like where we are right now. And it's great that you guys had someone there to kind of be that buffer for you because it can definitely be a challenge when you're relocating to the continent. Like things are so different here than in the US. So, I mean, that's great. And that's one of the reasons why we've been trying to help a lot of people repatriate because you really do need somebody to kind of show you around, show you the ropes because the cultures here, there are brothers and sisters, but it's very different here. And so it can be a little challenging when you first touch down on the ground. Let me ask you this, because I know you have a lot of big things that you're doing in Senegal right now. What did you do professionally when you were in the States?
So for the 10 years prior to me coming to the continent, I worked mostly in media management, marketing. We did a considerable amount of campaigns for major league sports teams, the MLB, NHL, the NFL, the NBA. We ran campaigns in Miami and Memphis and Tampa, Northeast Ohio, just different states moving around. But mainly in the fields of media and business management, managing offices, putting together ad campaigns, creating marketing, territories and whatnot. And I think a lot of that was, directly transferable to what was needed here on the ground. We only have this, for lack of a better term, this ignorance about the continent because there isn't any sophisticated media to show it to us. Because there isn't any, campaigns that are marketing African products and brands and tourism destinations, because there aren't too many, firms that are helping, especially beginners or people who, the average person to create businesses and alliances on the soil. And so seeing as how those things were missing, we focused on bringing those exact same skills here and putting them to work. A lot of us in the U.S., even, many of us in entry level, normal jobs, corporate jobs, have the skill level that can be applied here in much bigger realms, much bigger ways. And so, now we're seeing that, come to fruition. My wife and I, a lot of the things that we do right now today on the continent are directly, from what we were doing back in the States.
Okay, that's great. So let me ask you this, because I know you have a lot of projects. I'm gonna ask you about the projects because I'm very excited about the things that you're doing in Senegal, and I want you to tell everybody about the different projects you have. But like for us, when we first got here, we wanted to take time and like decompress. What did you and your family do when you first got there, and what do you recommend for people to do when they first come to the continent in their early days of repatriating?
Great question. For us, we did the same thing. We took time to decompress. We stayed for at least 6 months in the house of, our spiritual community, and even in the year or so to follow that, we mostly focused on just getting embedded in the community. I think that's one of the things that a lot of our repatriates who are coming home today, these days, are kind of skipping over and overlooking. When you spend time in the communities, you have more deeper connection to what you're investing in. You know, there are those kind of investors, especially international, who come just for the business, you know, just for the, you know, tourism, just for the, you know, the surface level experience. And you know, at some lengths, they get what they pay for, right? But then you
Right.
have those of us who are coming back with more connection. We're coming back to reconnect with the soil of our ancestry. And so we have to take that time in the beginning. I couldn't, you know, be doing what I'm doing right now here in Senegal 8.5, almost 9 years later, if it wasn't for the time that I spent just being a part of the community. I mean, we did cleanup, you know, programs where we just went around the community and picked up trash. Myself, my wife, my kids, our other African Americans who were here at the time. We did programs where we would just teach English to local young people. You know, they're really excited to learn English, to pick up a new language, and we would do that, you know, pretty much for free. We did programs where we're teaching computers, where we are creating content for the community. I was the media director appointed in that community, just to be able to create English media about this particular town and this particular community. And so those things were, you know, not paid. It wasn't like we were, you know, trying to get locals to pay us for these things or anything like that. We just wanted to be a part of the community and really give our impact. And I think that when folks come back in terms of repatriation, you should definitely set aside no less than 3 to 6 months of your return time towards decompressing, detox, right? You know, getting all of that toxicity out of yourself first. You know, finding time to meditate, finding time to sit with some of the spiritual guides on the continents, with the elders, some of the chiefs, right? Learn about your history, your ancestry, learn about your the community that you landed in, and how their nuances are played out. And then from there, start getting involved, right? Now that you've gotten into this community, you decompress, you spend your time there, they see you as a neighbor. Now it's time to roll up your sleeves. Whatever you see in that community that could use your immediate assistance, you know, offer it. Be there for those neighbors. Show them that you care, and then from there, then you can start to talk about, you know, professional things, business, investing, and building, and et cetera, et cetera. But you know, nobody knows how much you. I mean, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. That's important here.
Right. That's definitely true. One thing that we've noticed, I mean, there are people who have different experiences on the continent, but sometimes people complain a lot about how things are, how the locals are, different things like that. And I think that's one of the biggest things. They don't take the time to invest in getting to know the locals, getting to know their neighbors. And I think that is like one of the biggest mistakes you can make when you come to the continent, is not taking the time to get to know the people here. I know that we're different, and when we come from America, I say a lot of us are like so paranoid when we come from America, because we're still looking over our shoulders and we're like, who can I trust? And you know, it's all these different things. And so it is definitely just kind of letting your guard down and allowing yourself to immerse into the community. And it does help, because the community that you meet, like, they're invaluable. Like you really need them when you come to the continent. And so just
Like
as
you
much
said,
as
the importance is, like you say, it's letting your guard down. You know, we come from an environment where we have to fight so often. You know, whenever goes wrong, we gotta fight. You know, our order is wrong in the restaurant, we gotta fight the waiter. You know, our whatever it is, you know, we have this aggression. And what you'll find on the continent is, you know, that doesn't get you anywhere. You know, it's all about understanding, you know, being compassionate for your brother or your sister. You know, there are so many instances here where, you know, they say, this is a joke they tell you, they say, with Americans, everything is time is money. But here in Africa, it's more like time will tell. And so what that
Right.
means is like we're so money motivated and hungry and driven and having this aggressive drive, whereas here things are more lax, laid back. They're gonna take their time, don't rush them. Spend time getting to know each other. People pretty much give you favor based on how well they know you. It doesn't matter if you show up with pockets full of money and the charm of the gods, right? Like that doesn't matter. I mean, they might take your money and everything, but it still might not
Right.
matter. Right? So
Right.
it's more important to show up and show how much you care about that person or that community or that project. Be genuine. Sit and talk with people. Find out their reasons for things. Don't just say, this is ugly. Why do y'all do this? This is ugly. Right? No, sit down and take the time to figure out, like, why do they do this differently? What's the story behind it? What's the reasoning behind it? And 9 times out of 10, you'll figure out that it's not just a cosmetic issue. Like, it has a purpose, right? So we definitely have to take that time to get to know where we're at.
So let me ask you this, because I know talking to you off camera, but on here also, you also mentioned about the early days, things you were doing on social media, especially when you got to the continent, you started to put the call out to the diaspora to come back home. And a lot of your content concerning that, this is before 2019 with the year of return, went viral. And so when 2019 hit and you saw Ghana doing the year of return, knowing all the stuff that you were putting out prior to that, did you think that was going to happen when you saw that?
Man, great question. There really was a plan for much of this. And so, as time goes on, we really get to see it play out in real time, what we envisioned 6, 7, 8 years ago. When we started putting out the call and saying, come home and it's Exodus time, the early stages were mostly educational, right? Nobody knew anything about what we were talking about, and we had to do a lot of educating. Our YouTube channel went well because most people didn't have that kind of window into the continent. Our social media pages went viral because we were sharing content. We were sharing content that was little known, little seen. Like, we could share a photo. In 2015, 16, we shared a photo of the African Renaissance Monument, which you guys see a lot in my content lately. But at that time, like, nobody was sharing content of this statue. And that thing went viral. I mean, like, hundreds of thousands of impressions because, and you can just see in the comments, everybody's like, where is this? What is this place? Why don't I know about this? Where, there was a lot of educating going on. Like, people were really, in the dark on what's going on here. And then we had a video where 2 African brothers are telling you, hey, man, y'all come home, African Americans, come back to the continent. We want to share this with you guys. And that, took it through the roof. And from there, we got, thousands of emails and inquiries from folks saying, hey, we want to get close to this. We want to see this. We want to be a part of this, movement or of this, mission. And so, by 2019, when and shout out to my brother Jallo Sumbri, who actually was just coronated as a chief there in Ghana here about a month or so ago. But he was the one that stepped to the president of Ghana and said, hey, look, this is what needs to happen. And he and I had many talks about that. How can we make this an official welcome or an official call? And so Ghana was the first to do that. And we see the remnants of it. But what's more important now is the after effect. What comes after something like that? Do we just use it as just a tourism year? Or are we making this something more long-term, more sustainable, more ongoing, something that we can really continue, through the years? And so, that's what phase we're in now. It's like, what are we building here for ourselves? And again, these are things that we planned out 6 or 7 years ago. When this goes into overdrive, what's going to be around for the people who decide to stay. And so we got started working on that early. While Ghana was working on the tourism, pool, we were working on the long-term goals.
Okay.
Gotcha. So now that you mentioned what's going to be here in the long term for those who come, just really quick, I know that you, back in 2020, you along with a few others, you started the Exodus Alliance. So tell us a little bit about that, because I know there's some great benefits in there for the diaspora. So what's going on with that, and how is it benefiting us?
Yes. Share with our viewers about the projects that you have going on.
Yes.
Right. The Exodus Alliance was born out of the same need, like I say, for a long-term solution. When we started seeing the wave of African Americans come into the continent, we understood that, number one, we didn't have any real representation here. We also understood that there was no set structure for those of us looking to engage the continent ongoing. And for the most part, if we were coming back, we were falling into the hands of, at times, illegitimate operations who were sometimes taking advantage of us, right? We've all heard those stories. And so the Exodus Alliance is something that I brought together in 2020. We signed a d'accord, like they say in French, or an agreement, a partnership, a convention, if you will, with the State of the African Diaspora, Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program in Ghana, the Black Star Action Network International in Sierra Leone, and also the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, or also known as the UNIA-ACL, out of Cleveland, Ohio, as we all know, Marcus Garvey's 100-year-old organization.
Right.
What we formed was an alliance to where we could provide oversight and assistance, but also representation during times of either turmoil or challenge. We understood that, we can't always depend on, the U.S. government or those kind of officials to have our interests at heart, especially here. And so we needed to have those things ourselves. What we created was a group of, champions for repatriation. Those of us who had a track record for making, this priority. And so here we are 2 years later. We've been able to assist in mediating disputes, land disputes, different types of issues. We've assisted with even helping individuals who are, quick story, we had a sister in Nigeria about a year or so ago, was, I guess, married to a local and had a issue there, and her passports were stolen, and she was, in some place where she didn't know where she was, and she was panicking, and she reached out to me, and I'm all the way here in Senegal. I'm not in Nigeria, I've never been there, but I was able to reach out to our Exodus Alliance partners there, and within an hour, we had a full team at her door, ready to pick her up, get her to where she needed to go, get her passport, and even as far as helping her with flights to where she needed to go. It was, a whole, special convey, if you will. And this is just because we're connecting. It's not anything, out of the ordinary, just in terms of, the material use. But as people, as brothers and sisters, we all have a responsibility to one another. When we return to the continent, we are more or less a tribe, just like our brothers and sisters here on the ground, right? We have a like culture, like languages and dialects, like interests and entertainment, and like, everything, right? So we're a tribe. And so just like we see the tribes on the continent do, we've got to look out for each other. If one of us is in trouble, we've got to be able to come to the aid of our brothers. If any of us need assistance crossing that ocean and making that transition, we've got to be the ones to reach back and help. And we formed what's called the Exodus Club, which is a club that allows members of the diaspora to get involved and get all of the information they need with one-on-one consulting from myself and the other members of the Exodus Alliance. And so until today, we are still at it, and with big plans for 2023.
Wow, that's awesome. You know, before I didn't even know that this group existed, honestly, before I came to the country, the continent here. And I'm like, man, I wish I had known, because I know you guys have, you know, together the collective experience and all the knowledge that you guys have with working with the different countries here. And that's like something that we all need to know, these groups, because we've had some people who have been in trouble here and we really didn't know where to tell them to go. But hey, you might want to get you a lawyer. But it's very awesome to know that, you know, we have some people who can be a representative for our people here on the continent. So man, that's amazing.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the projects you guys have for 2023?
Right.
Yeah, so right now we are focusing on, you know, building whole communities. You know, we've welcomed here over the past several years hundreds of members of the diaspora, some of them to visit, some of them to live permanently. And so some of the challenges that we see them going through are challenges that can be easily solved with us having communities of our own. You know, the way we expect certain things to be, we have to build them. We can't expect to come into, you know, cities and towns that, you know, come out of colonial rule and are still, you know, figuring out development themselves and expect everything to be perfect or, you know, even close to what we experience in the West, unless we build them. And so we've taken on a project here where we're partnered with the government for a 1,000 hectare space, which is about 2,500 acres, for our development. There are 4 economic zones the government designated there. They designated a residential zone, a commercial zone, a industrial zone, and an agricultural zone. They've slated that area, cleared it. It's already water and power connected. It's right on top of a major highway, a brand new highway that they just built. And there's already now plans by the government to put a water park there. We've got projects including healthcare centers, transformation centers, export centers, et cetera. And we've been mandated, or our agreement with the government gives us the opportunity to build up to 20,000 homes and 10,000 business spaces by 2030. And so, so 2023, you know, that's what we're focusing on, is, you know, getting all of our folks to a place where we know, you know, our land is ours, the businesses in that area are ours, the direction of that community comes from us. The food that we eat is grown right in our backyards, right in our agricultural zones. And, you know, we can create the type of life that we came here to live. It's important for us not to come back to Africa and make some of the mistakes that we've been making in the West, namely getting into rental situations forever. We don't want to come back and have to go into the job force. We're finding people who are showing up here and within a month, you know, hey, can I, you know, I need a job. I you know, how am I going to work? Can I work for you? This, et cetera. You know, we can't hire all of you, right? So it's important for us when we come back to have business acumen, to come back and have space to develop the things that we need. Our own grocery stores, our own schools, our own you know, services in terms of, you know, home services, building services, real estate, etc. This is very important every people in the world who have any kind of power or sustainability, they have land first. They have a place to call theirs. We're not just talking about being nomadic and like, we're just all popping in and out of hotels and Airbnbs and apartments, right? Those are okay short term, but we've got to have a long term outlook. The city that we're building here is called Alkebulan, which is the oldest and first known name on record, right? It was the former name of Africa. It means the Garden of Eden. But our city, as we've developed it with our partners in our development group, has a 100-year development plan. So not just how are we going to build 20,000 homes in 7 years, but how is this city going to function a century from now? What industries are going to be its central developers? What attractions are going to be, bringing tourism into it? What type of school systems are we building? Curriculums? How are we going to focus our product delivery? The things that we create, what will they say about us? Where will we export them to? How will we, build those kind of international trade lines? We're working together with the International Council of Mayors, to build sister city projects, exchange programs for university students from HBCUs to be able to come down and spend a semester working and learning right here in the continent, right in our city. And so that they can take back not just the skills that they, signed up for in school, which obviously are those technical and book skills, but also the cultural knowledge, the extra languages, right? Learning the local cultural language. And I'm not talking about French. I'm talking about coming and picking up these tribal languages, our native languages, so that we can communicate with our brothers and sisters. So yeah, 2023, we're building exclusively for us here on the ground and inviting all of our members of the African diaspora to join us in doing so.
Gotcha.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I got a question for you, just man to man, because, back in the States, we'd have a regular 9-to-5 job. And even though it said 9-to-5, you was there for longer than that. I know for you, you're like me, family comes first. With so much on your plate, how you make time for the family?
Right. That's a lot.
That is a sacrifice. And that's something that, you're right. Like in America, we've got our set time to work. You've got your weekends off. You can, do whatever you want to do. In what we're building in today's day and time and space, there's a lot of things that we have to set aside in order to see this type of mission through. And this I want to give to anybody who's, thinking about getting into the development space, who's thinking about, really putting themselves out there as a bridge. You're going to sacrifice a lot of time. You're going to put yourself in a position to be, kind of last in terms of your objectives and your priorities. So yeah, man, I mean, even my family, like we don't do too many vacations. We don't have too much time for the extra stuff. And sometimes that is a burden. Sometimes, the family gets frustrated about that, but we know that we're building. And we know that, when you give up, a certain amount of those, fun times, you can invest heavily into the sustainability. And then later we can have all the fun we ever wanted to have because we got our own land, we have our own space and our own peace and security. So again, for those who are, number one, moving to the continent, if you're planning to come and really roll up your sleeves, be ready to make the sacrifices for a lot of the fun things. That's the toughest part for most people, to say, hey, look, I'm not going to go out tonight because I got to get up early tomorrow and put in work. Or saying, hey, I'm not going to, take that flight or that trip because I got to dig in my feet, in the mud. And so, I go through those times. I've made myself kind of a workhorse for the cause. But, inshallah, we'll be able to catch back up with all the fun stuff, when the work is done.
Man, I thank you for those wise words, because I'm one of those that wants to do a lot, but a lot of times we don't consider the cost when you want to do so many things. I want to ask you this because, like, here in Tanzania, we have come into some areas that were kind of challenging to us, still going through some things that are a little challenging, especially when dealing with the government. Have there been any things that have been like really big hurdles for you guys there in Senegal? How has it been? What's been some of the biggest challenges there?
A lot of challenges. I'm not going to sugarcoat you. A lot of challenges. At first, some of the initial challenges are either in communication or understanding. A lot of things are lost in translation, and in communicating, with people who have a different understanding of the world and of business and of, innovative things. A lot's not going to be understood. There's a lot of things, ideas, and objectives that you're going to have that the common local person is maybe not going to even think about or take serious sometimes. It's important for those of us who are bringing innovative solutions to stick by what you're doing. Don't worry about whether people understand, right? Especially if there are things that are bringing solutions to major issues. Sometimes you have to just do it. You have to just show what it is you have in mind. And so that initially was something that we found out was like, don't waste too much time trying to convince everybody of certain things. Just kind of take it into your hands, do it, get it done, even if you fail at it, even if you, don't, reach the full success with it that you're looking for, at least do it. Set that little example, that little, how we can say, like, almost like a cookie cutter, like, be that first trial of certain things. Don't be afraid to lose out. You're gonna lose some money. I'm just giving you that much, straight up and down. If you're trying new things and you're bringing innovation to the continent, expect to lose some money. Expect to have to take some risks. There are a lot of things again that are unexplained here that are not really fully understood, and so when you get into certain sectors, you're going to have to be the catalyst for it. I've seen this in restauranting. I've seen this in poultry raising. I've seen this in several different sectors where the creative, innovative side of the business died because everybody else didn't understand yet. And so you gotta, be the catalyst that keeps those parts of your operations alive. The next challenge that I would say, more so lately in this second wave of repatriates, and we're out of the educational stage, kind of. Now we're more into the commercialization stage, into the capitalization stage. And so the challenge now is keeping the focus genuine, making sure that you're dealing with the right people. There are a lot of people now who are just opportunists, who are just here for the fun and games, who are not necessarily as invested or as passionate or as objective about developing the continent and being catalysts for that development. And so those people are sometimes getting in the way. Those people are at times being more, of a detriment than, being productive. So, just saying that to say, watch who you work with. A lot of people now are just seeing dollar signs. They're just seeing, what can I get out of it? And so you got to be careful. So, I'd say just, do your due diligence. Work with people who are proven, who have shown track record. A lot of people are coming to the continent even with, no skills, no money, no resources, no ideas, no work ethic, and then trying to jump into things and areas and industries that they have no understanding of, and this can cause not just uh, not just a challenge to you as the repat or the business owner, et cetera, but also in the local populations because they're watching this and they're seeing and they're checking us out. They're learning how do we move. They're paying attention to our business acumen. They're seeing how how morally apt we are, and also how we align with their own values and way of life. So just be careful. Not just who you work with, but who you refer to other people and put in positions because not everybody's got what it takes.
Right. That's very true. It's funny you say that because just we were talking to a friend of ours the other day, and he was expressing to us, one of the locals here. That's exactly what they said to him. We hear a lot from the African Americans, but normally they don't do what they say. So they say now when they say they're gonna do something, they just say like, "We'll see." So it definitely is very important to stick to what you set out to do. If you say you're going to do it, do everything in your power to accomplish that because they are watching. And obviously, there have been many that have come and have not done what they said they were going to do. So it's definitely something that you have to push for, have to skin for. I'll say that because I mean, I'm sure you've experienced what we are starting to experience here in Tanzania when starting projects. It's not always easy to like burst through that bubble when you initially start out, but you have to keep going. So that's amazing.
Yeah. So with the challenges, for the time that you've been there, here we are at the close of 2022. We're what, 13 days away from 2023?
Oh, we're that close.
Yeah, we're that close. What would you say in 2022 was, for you personally, your biggest wins when you look back at when you first put this plan together to, I'm going to Africa and I'm going to make something happen over there?
Yeah, 2022 has been probably my most difficult year yet, but also at the same time, likely our most successful year yet. So it's been a hell of a lot of work. we've kind of been to hell and back, seriously, this year. Just making sure that we keep our foot on the gas. There's a lot of distractions, a lot of unexpected things that come up that can easily take you one way or the other off your path. And we've dodged those pretty aptly this year. And so two things stand out in 2022. Number one, we, after years of working around the clock tirelessly to get it done, we signed our government partnership this year, our public-private partnership for our 1,000 hectare land space, giving our agency full control and management over this space, and also giving us all the government resources and partnerships that we needed. So that was huge. That was the first thing. The second thing I would have to say in October, a couple months ago, I was given an award as one of the top 100 most influential people of African descent under 40 at the United Nations in New York. And, being someone who's, always really just focused on just getting the work done, I've never, honestly been, awarded anything of this sort. So it was kind of, it was a unique experience to even be being honored and being recognized, and among some really dope people. A lot of the other folks there were, I'd say light years maybe ahead of me, but to be among them was a great honor. So yeah, so those would probably be my two biggest wins this year: signing our partnership with the government here, and then the United Nations invite me to New York and honoring the work that we've been doing.
Nice.
Very cool.
Congratulations on your achievement, sir. You know, it's great to hear about our people coming to the continent and making an impact in that fashion where the world is noticing, you know. So as we told you, you know, we have been doing our best to help our people repatriate to the country, and we've been talking with people and they want to go to different countries. And so we did have a person ask us about Senegal. And so that's when I had reached out to you. So I have some questions for you concerning Senegal. What is the process like to repatriate to Senegal?
You know, process in terms of paperwork is pretty easy. Senegal is a no visa country for U.S. residents, so there's no application in advance. You don't have to send your passport to the embassy. There's no wait time, and there's no cost. You can simply fly out of New York straight into Senegal. When you land, they're gonna stamp a visa into your passport, you know, absolutely free, and you're in the country. So, you know, that's the first thing is, you know, very easy to come into Senegal. We don't have the issues that some of the other countries have in terms of visas and those kind of, you know, hiccups. And then in terms of even getting residency, you know, it's in a matter of days kind of thing. Once you get an address, a home, an apartment, a land, or build a home, etc., you can get residency immediately. It's very inexpensive. Takes only, you know, you can get it done in one day. And once you get that residency, you're able to get local bank accounts, post office boxes, the works, right? Set up your businesses, these type of things. Citizenship takes time. So whereas places like Sierra Leone are giving instant citizenship based on ancestry, in Gambia they're working to shorten the amount of time to get citizenship. In Ghana you can get it, you know, with certain perks as well. But here in Senegal, it's pretty much a time thing. It's about 10 years for you to get citizenship, and during that time you need to establish some type of, you know, track record in the country, whether it be purchasing land, having businesses, getting married there, etc., so that when your time is, you know, is up, you can be able to show that you've been a contributing member of the society and get your citizenship. So very easy to get in, very easy to stay. Take some time to become a citizen, but you know, if you're in it for the long haul, why not?
Man, so wait, I'm listening to this and I'm like blown away right now. So residency, you can pretty much get very quickly there. You don't have to establish a business to get residency. And how long is the residency for?
Like they give you your certificate of domicile. I want to say it's good for like 6 months, but you know, you only really need it when you're going for official things that require your address. So, you know, you can get it redone at any police station. It's very easy to do. It's not like, you know, some long outdrawn court process or something. It's just like fill out your paperwork, you know, show your proof of address, get it stamped by, you know, your local official, and you're off. So.
Wow, that I think is the simplest process I've heard of this far out of all the countries we have researched. Oh my goodness. I know for a lot of our viewers, that's like a breath of fresh air because a lot of the countries, it's very difficult to get residency.
Very difficult to get a visa
right.
in some countries.
So that's amazing to hear that for some of our viewers that are interested in going to Senegal, it's a straightforward process. And that's what a lot of us have been looking for because seriously, it's like jumping through a fire hoop to actually obtain residency in a lot of the African countries.
Yeah.
So that's wow.
Yeah. So let me ask this also, because like here in Tanzania, you have to have a company to purchase land. Is it the same thing there, or just being a resident there, you can purchase land?
Yeah, no, anybody can purchase land in Senegal. Period. You don't even have to be a
Wow.
resident to purchase land here.
Wow.
Wow.
You
That
can
I'm
purchase
blown away right now.
farm national. Yeah.
So let me ask this, because right before we got on here, we had a consultation with a family. So let me ask you this. For example, let's say a family of 5. What would you say cost of living in Senegal would be for a family of 5?
The cost of living, like monthly.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on your standards, but if you're saying like a 3-bedroom family of 5, maybe you got about 3 bedrooms, maybe 4 bedrooms. Um, you could pay under $1,000 a month for a nice 3 to 4 bedroom, and maybe your electric bill is $40, $50 a month. Maybe your water bill is $5 to $10 a month, and maybe your grocery bill is $300 a month.
Wow. So it's really affordable, just like most of the other African nations. It's a very affordable country to live in.
Oh yeah, for $1,500 a month, for a family of 4 or 5. Like if you're not doing too much, you're not just like out balling or eating out too much. You're just living like residential life. Yeah, $1,500 a month for sure will be sufficient.
Right.
That's cool.
So for those who go there and start a business there, is it hard to start a business there? Is there like a minimum investment required by the government? Like in some countries, you got to show that you got 200,000, 300,000 in the bank before they'll even give you the business license, the business visa and everything for the residency.
Yeah, so there are different levels of business registration here. They have like solo business where it's just like you're independent business owner. That part's kind of easy, but it's not much you can do with it. A lot of bank accounts you can't hold. A lot of different types of business structures you can't use it for. But each level of business here has a minimum capital investment for sure. And so the highest of those is about $20,000. So our Alkebulan development group, our ADG, is what's called a Société Anonyme, an SA Corp here, and that requires like a $20,000 minimum capital, to register. But essentially, it just depends on what you're going to be doing with the business. What are your business functions? And we help people through that process. We have attorneys that sit down with each and every person that we set up a business for here, and advise them on their different rights and the regulations that are involved. They'll ask you, what do you plan to do? Are you going to be importing and exporting anything? Are you going to be is it an educational institution? Is it a medical institution? Is it so there's a lot of things involved. And then once they narrow down what all it is, how many people are on the ownership? Is it just you that owns it, or is it a joint venture? Is it a group of people that own it? Is it a group of companies that own it? All of these things. And then once they get all those things together, they'll tell you, okay, this is the business for you. They've got SA, they got SARL, they've got a few different kind of like our LLC versus corporation, et cetera, right? But essentially, if you're looking to set up a business in Senegal, my first thing, if you're one of my clients, you're somebody that I'm consulting, I'm going to take you straight to the attorneys and let them give you the exact information on that, just so that you're in the right standing. You don't want to have this kind of business, but you're doing that kind of business operations, and then something comes up later, they say, oh, look, you can't even do this. This is not right. So, get all the information from the people who, are having the legal knowledge for sure.
Right. That's still amazing news, because that's quite affordable still for the diaspora. I know some of us people may not have hundreds of thousands of dollars, but if you have 10, 15, $20,000, some of our people can come over here with those amounts and start businesses, unlike some of the other countries where they require 100,000, 250,000 capital to start a business. So it's still quite affordable.
Right.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Arjun. What would you say would be the pros and cons to moving to Senegal?
So the pros would be, number one, Senegal is historically peaceful. There have been no wars or, coup d'etats or any kind of overthrow of government or anything in 70, 80 years. Also, it's historically attached to us. This is the home of Gorée Island, the door of no return. There are several across the continent, but this is also the one closest to the U.S. and where we're from. And so we have a specific tie there that lets us know that, there's a really good chance that this is the port that we were exported out of, our ancestors were. Also, on top of that, Senegal is developing at a rate of speed faster than any of the other countries, to my knowledge, just in terms of building new roads and highways, bridges. We've seen 2 bridges built in the past 3 to 4 years, 3 or 4 new highways now, 2 new stadiums, a soccer stadium and a basketball stadium. And we're talking in the course of 4 to 5 years. New universities, new health centers, just so much new development that we can tell in the very near future, Senegal is going to be, a shining example in terms of infrastructure, in terms of real estate development. Also a brand new airport now we got here about 3 years ago. So these things tell us that, this is a country that's stable. When we're coming back to the continent, we know that it's important for us to be in environments where the banking systems are strong, Wi-Fi and internet is reliable, access to water and power are constant. These are things that matter, to us because we rely on those things to live, right? And so Senegal has all those things. Now, on the cons list, I would say for most people, and not for myself because I speak the language fluently, but for most people, having to learn the language can be a con. It can be, a little frustrating, especially the older you are, to have to, learn a new language. And whereas it may be difficult, we do provide here on the ground, here at our office, language classes for Wolof and French. We work together with, local schools and universities to staff our teams with English speakers so that, when our African Americans arrive here, our entire team speaks fluent English. We work a lot together with other African American businesses and English speaking businesses here in town as well, so that when our folks come, we can direct them to businesses that know our style, know what we like, know how we do business. And so we help a lot with navigating that particular con, but for most people, that would be something they would see as a downside. And then I say maybe the last con could possibly be the amount of undeveloped space outside of the cities, right? And that's not even just a con, that's opportunity as well. But once you get outside of Dakar and you get to some of the other towns, you won't find as much, development. You won't find as much infrastructure, so I think that's something that can be surprising to some people who've only spent time in Dakar, and then they get out to the outer regions, and then they're like, "Whoa, this is not like what I saw in the city." So,
We understand that one.
And I try to tell people that because you have a lot of people who come here and they're like, "No, I want to live in the village. I want to live like the locals. I don't want to live in the city." I want to go out and live in nature. And whereas that sounds great, and in the sense of like a Hollywood movie, that might be possible. Here you get out to the village, it's really Africa. I like to be honest with people.
We live in the rural areas. We know.
We thought we could go live in the man. Look, hey, if you don't like plumbing and you're okay with nature coming inside, windows without screens and homes without ACs and roads sometime without pavement, and you might find that out there, and that might sound cool and romanticized, but when you live in it, you might feel a little different.
Yeah. Yes. Where we are is outside the city, but I mean, it's not village like that, but we have seen the villages. So yeah, we completely understand. Because even where we are, sometimes I have to just snap out of it because, like I said, we deal with power outages and
like right now,
right, and water issues sometimes depending on the season because we have dry seasons here in Tanzania.
Yeah.
So that is something people definitely have to think about when they want to live out in the rural areas. But like you said, it is an opportunity for the diaspora because I never realized, when we're in America and we're taking our geography classes and everything, they make Africa, it's big, but it doesn't appear to be that much bigger than most of the other countries. Yeah. But until you get here and you're able just to travel a little bit within one country, you realize how enormous this continent is. And so outside of those big cities, it is so much land, and there's not a lot of people that live in a lot of those areas. So it is just, it's a gold mine when it comes down to opportunities to build here on the continent. I don't think a lot of our brothers and sisters really realize that. A lot of them are trying to still start companies in the US, and it's taking hundreds of thousands of dollars when it doesn't take that much here to build those same companies, and they can be even more prosperous over here because the continent is being built up. So that is invaluable for our people to understand. Come over here and build because you have all our
Yeah. Yes. I mean, the thing is, the continent it's about 65% undeveloped. That's 65% of this giant landmass where there's nothing. There's just open space. Once your country starts investing in transportation, all right, so pay attention. Once your country starts investing in roads, bridges, highways, public transportation like buses and trains, etc., that's when the opportunities are wide open. Because now anywhere people can transport goods, anywhere people can commute for work, anywhere people can, come for tourism, anytime you opened up lanes for trade and commerce, now you got opportunities for businesses, right? Every highway needs gas stations. Every highway needs, businesses that, play off of the traveler, right? Truck stops. A wise man once said, when there's a gold rush, no need to dig for gold, sell shovels, right?
I like that.
If you see that everybody's already investing in these, roads and highways and trains and buses, etc., find out what are the shovels that those industries now need.
Right.
Be the side businesses that thrive off of that movement. This is major because in a lot of places right now, even I think through Tanzania, they're going to be running the Trans-African Highway. Have you guys seen that project yet?
Yes.
Is that going to come through Tanzania?
Yes.
Yes,
It is.
that highway and the pipeline. There are lots of projects happening in Tanzania.
Let me tell you something. Find out where that highway is going to run through your country and get you some land right next to it. Even if you don't know what to do with the land yet, find out where that highway is running through your country and get you some land right next to it and just hold it. I'll tell you later what to do with it.
It works for me.
Gotcha.
So, with all that being said, when it comes to the diaspora that are thinking about coming to Senegal, what ways can they help with the projects you're doing there and just help the country in general?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, here right now, technical skills are everything. We need folks with technical skills, people who know machinery, people who know STEM, folks who are working in robotics, people who are working in coding, anything that has to do with 21st century technical skills. We got work for you. You can definitely get invested here. A lot of the projects that we are overseeing for the city of Alkebulan are in that, to that nature. From the real estate development, we're working with folks who are bringing new modern materials to build homes faster, to have better insulation, to create or to have a clean energy output, right? Folks who are doing biogas, folks who are doing solar. Folks who are working in even like wind power. They have even hydroelectric research going on here right now. These kind of things are huge keys for the future of Africa. If you're in the States and you got any kind of technical experience, right? Hit us up. We can definitely put you in touch with some of the major projects here that are looking for that. Already, we have a member of our Exodus Club who is a civil engineer, infrastructural engineer out of Chicago. Matter of fact, this is the logo just above me here. These guys building bridges and tunnels and highways in the U.S., and now we just got them contracts here in Senegal to extend one highway and to build 5 interchanges, like these big ramps that come off of the highways, right? We've got folks who are in the States working in IT, information technology, and cybersecurity, and they're now getting partnered with the government here to be doing cybersecurity for some of the administrations and the new government buildings that they're building. We've got folks in the U.S. who are working in water treatment and like solutions for water, cleaning the water, right? And so now we brought them over here. They're now working together with universities and schools that are doing research on the local water and the wells and the groundwater and how to improve water quality in the country, right? These are folks who, all you guys that got those technical degrees in the U.S. and you can't find any work in the workforce, right? You got a master's in, whatever engineering, and you haven't really been able to get that, get the use out of it in the U.S. Bring those skills here. Come here with your resume, with your work experience, with your ideas, your business plan, your project plans. We can sit you down with government officials. We can sit you down with major corporations, major developers who can say, hey, look, man, we'll contract you for the next 2 to 3 years to just provide consulting to us on that information technology or cybersecurity. We'll pay you to build these roads for us. And, that's it. You got a $300 million deal to build a highway 50 miles down the road, right? These kind of deals exist. And this is something that, they don't tell you. You're not going to find this on most YouTube channels. You're not going to find most folks just telling you, hey, look, you can come over here with literally just the skills and sign major multi-million-dollar government contracts, just for technical skills. So yeah, that's the biggest need right now.
So let me ask you this. with the city that you're building and all the other projects that you have. For people who are watching this video right now and who are going to see it later, if they're like, you know what, I want to reach out to this brother and I want to invest in what he's doing, or I have those skills that you were just talking about, go ahead and tell everybody what your websites are. I'm also going to put them down in the description box and let them know how they can reach you so they can see how they can work with you and get these contracts.
Sure. Yeah, so the first way and the most easiest and simplest way, like I'm very approachable. You can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook by my username here, King RJ Mahdi. And, send me a DM and say, hey, look, this is what I do. How can I get involved? So that's the first way. The second way is you can visit our website, which is madeinafricaproject.com. That's madeinafricaproject.com. And so our website, has 4 main functions. It helps you to shop, visit, invest, relocate. Our online store is there if you want to buy local products. Our travel and tourism program is there if you want to come visit. But also in the relocation and investment fields, you're able to join our Exodus Club, which is our members-only club for those who are looking to learn about the continent for the purpose of repatriation and investment. And the reason we require you to join the Exodus Club for those services is because they require ongoing assistance. It's not something we can just tell you and let you go. We're going to be able to walk you, down that road, hold your hand, so to speak, make sure that you have the oversight necessary, the information and due diligence necessary. We're going to put you in touch with the legitimate administrations or business owners, service providers, et cetera, so that you can get around, the scams and the folks who are trying to hustle you. And we're going to put you in touch with other African-American business owners who are here on the ground, other members of our Exodus Club who've started incredible businesses here. We've got one here just this past month, just opened up a laundromat here on the ground. Really nice, full service. You bring your clothes in, you drop them off, they weigh your clothes to tell you the price, and then they wash, dry, fold, iron, bag them up nicely like brand new. It's beautiful. And these folks here, they're out of Baltimore. They've only been here about a year. Came, laid their roots, got their house, put their kids in school, brought their technical knowledge and experience, and said, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. And now that place is beautiful. Nice storefront location. And we've got tons of other members here doing similar things. And so when you get here, we'll be able to put you directly with those kind of people and say, hey, look, this is somebody you can trust. This is somebody who provides good service. This is somebody who, can assist you in what you're looking for. And we all work collectively. So for those who are looking to really get the services that we provide, join our Exodus Club at madeinafricaproject.com.
Okay, that is awesome because
that's
Edie.
I think one Edie's of the a member. Hey, Edie.
That's awesome because I think that's one of the things that is missing in a lot of the countries is having someone who can really walk you through the process so you don't get haggled by the wrong people, because you do run into a lot of that here, unfortunately, on the continent.
Especially with you guys having over 10 years of experience of being there. You can't beat experience because y'all already took all the knocks and bruises for everybody else.
Woo, right. We took a lot of knocks and bruises.
Well, RJ, we appreciate you.
We're thankful to have had those experiences, and we're thankful to be able to, help other people to avoid those kind of challenges. With every person that arrives here in our care, it gets easier and easier. Because we're very proactive about solving any issues that we see in the process of getting here. Today, we took a member out to a couple hours out into another town, and we were talking to her about the difference in transportation, the modes of transportation that existed in years past versus today. Not only do we have whole new highways and roads that take us to those cities instead of the back roads and detours and that used to be, but we've got a lot better vehicles. We've got a lot better traffic flow. And so with each passing guest, we get to, lay back a little more and say, hey, you don't have to worry about what everybody had to worry about before. So, it's getting better and better. We love it.
Yeah. Well, RJ, we appreciate you, brother, for coming on and just sharing your experiences on the continent and giving out some great information. I do want to ask you this before I let you go. Give us 3 pieces of advice for anyone considering moving to the continent.
Whew. Man. Okay, first piece of advice. Plan long term. Focus on your long-term future and then work backwards, right? So how am I going to be living 10 years, 20 years from now, and then work backwards on the steps to get yourself there? As African Americans, particularly, we plan for the weekend, we plan for the first of the month, and then after that, we're lost. And we see people arriving here on the ground having those problems. They got enough money to get here. Maybe they got a little, hookup gig that's going to pay them for a month or so. And then they're like, in a panic because they have no plans past that. We'd like to see that be fixed. Every time we see our brothers and sisters in that position, it puts an added strain and stress on us because now we've got to maneuver at the last minute to try and help you to get on your feet and stay sustainable. So think long term. Number 2, come ready to invest in something. It's very important that a job not be your even plan C, right? Find a product and start selling it. Create a service and put it on the market. Open up a brick and mortar and, whatever it is that you have to do, make sure that it includes you being the boss and you having independence. Because the moment you look for somebody on the ground to pay you as a job, you're gonna fall into probably the same rat race situation you're leaving from in the U.S. And nobody wants to come to a whole other country to do that. So save up your money, get your family together, have them contribute, take out that business loan, sell your car or your valuables until you got enough cash to say, hey, look, I'm going over here and I'm opening up something. I'm gonna open up a barbershop. I'm gonna start a small restaurant. I'm gonna, like I say, these folks just open up a laundromat. Whatever it is, put your money into something that's going to give you an ongoing return. And the third advice would be, be collective. Work together. We are far more stronger working together than we are competing with one another or trying to be the only one or the first one or having this, crab in a barrel mentality. Work together. Heed the warnings of those who came before you. Be, if not a bridge, a piece to your brothers and sisters who are coming home. It's not easy for any of us. And sometimes we see, because we're watching, we see what's going on out there. We see some of our brothers and sisters, coming down hard on some of the others of us who are, out here pioneering this particular movement. Take it easy on each other. Understand that there's absolutely no playbook for this. There was nobody that left us a manual that said, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you keep it professional. This is how you. No, these are things, these are businesses, services that are being created out of need as we go along. I see a lot of our brothers and sisters, particularly in Ghana, struggling with the management of affairs to where they can remain in business, particularly when so many of them are there. You see this also going on in Gambia, where it's a really small country. You've got a lot of us there. Everybody's trying to do the same thing. And so you see that competitive, attitude. Come together, work together, figure out ways to either partner or, share territories, create opportunities together. Because again, like we said earlier, everybody's watching. And in this day and age, you only really get, one real chance to do it right. And we don't want to be the ones that mess it up for generations to come. We don't want the history books to show our failures or our flaws, but instead the impact that we've had positively. So, and that's going to come out of working collectively, being united, having each other's back, protecting each other's, protecting each other's reputations and livelihoods, and making it easier for everybody else.
That's great information, brother. Great information. RJ, again, thank you so much for sharing this great information with our viewers. And you have a blessed day, sir.
Thank you too, man. Y'all take care.
All right. All right, family. We appreciate y'all spending this time with us. Thank y'all so much. We pray that you enjoyed it.
Yes, we hope you guys got some really valuable information from this brother here. If anybody was planning on repatriating to Senegal, I didn't even know it was that easy to repatriate to Senegal. If you feel like you're being called there, then y'all reach out, because they're there to walk you hand in hand. So take the information and, run with it.
Yeah. All his contact information will be down in the description box of this video. So again, family, love y'all. Thank you again for all your support. Please remember to like, share, comment on this video. All right. Shalom.